Today is Wednesday, January 30th, and we have the same learning goal as yesterday. Just like yesterday, we're going to explore more how we can interpret fractions as division, okay? We're going to build on from what we learned yesterday. Okay, some of us are starting to understand, especially using unit form, how division sentences are the same as fractions. But we're going to add on to that today, and we're going to learn how to express fractions as division in multiple different ways. At the top of your math notes, you're going to make a chart that's going to take up your whole page. Okay, you don't need to draw the lines, just write the header. What I mean by the header is this part up here. Okay, so here are the words you want to write. Write division expression, quickly. Then write unit forms. Then improper fractions. Then mixed numbers. Then standard algorithm. Okay, so you need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. Does that make sense? Just write those words across the top of your page. Go. Today we're going to learn how to express the same amount, the same quantity, the same expression in 5 different ways. We're going to learn how to write it as a division expression with a division symbol. We're going to learn how to write it in unit forms. We're going to write it as an improper fraction, as a mixed number, and how we can use the standard algorithm, writing our answer in whole numbers and fractional units. And then we're also going to check our work. Okay? Here's an example. My division expression, I know it's division because I see the division sign there. So write 4 divided by 3. Now our divisor always tells us what the units are going to be for unit form. What is our divisor in this case? 3. So our basic unit is going to be thirds because it's like I took my 4 cookies and divided them into thirds. Remember when we did this yesterday? When I do that, how many thirds do I have? 12 thirds. Do you guys agree that these 12 thirds is the same as 4 cookies? So in unit form, I have 12 thirds divided by 3. My divisor stays the same. Go ahead and write that down. 12 thirds divided by 3. What's 12 divided by 3? 4, but what's my units? 4 thirds. So write 12 thirds divided by 3 equals 4 thirds. Since I know the answer is 4 thirds, how do I write that as an improper fraction? 4 over 3. But we know, as a mixed number, 4 thirds is the same as 1 and 1/3. Do you see how this is all the same thing, just written in different forms? Go ahead and fill in your improper fraction and your mixed number. Now, standard algorithm. I know that my whole is 4, so it's going to live in the house. And my divisor is 3, so it's going to be knocking on the door. Set up your standard algorithm. 4 in the house. 3 is knocking on the door. Go ahead and set it up. Okay, if I have 4 ones and I want to split them into 3 groups, Dad's going to divide. What's 4 divided by 3? 1. Go ahead and record that. 1. Okay. Mom's going to multiply. What's 1 times 3? 3. Sister's going to subtract. How much is left? 4 minus 3 is 1. That means I have 1 remainder 1. But today we're going to learn our remainder it's really 1/3 because our divisor is 3. So I write 1 over 3 as the remainder, 1/3. Your remainder, because you have 1 left, and if I had 1 left and I want to split it into 3 equal parts, how much would be in each part?
1/3.
1/3, and that's why your remainder is 1/3. Does that make sense? Okay, this example was given to you, but I wanted to show you an example of how these 5 different forms all represent the same thing. If I ask you, what's 4 divided by 3, and you told me 4 thirds, would that be correct? Would that be correct?
Yes.
If I said, what's 4 divided by 3, and you told me 1 and 1/3, would that be correct?
Yes.
If I said, what's 4 divided by 3, and you said 1 and 1/3, would that be correct? Yes, it still is. Very good. Okay, now, let's look at this next example. The division expression, we don't know. It's blank divided by blank. And the unit form says blank fifths divided by 5 equals blank fifths. So what does that tell us? What's our divisor? Everyone? 5. So go ahead and write 5 in the divisor. Do you see how our divisor is here divided by 5? So we know here it's divided by 5. How come in unit form it already says fifths? Because our divisor is 5. Raise your right hand and say, I know. Whatever the divisor is,
Whatever the divisor is.
That's also the type of units we're talking about.
That's also the type of units.
So let's ignore this problem for a second. If I give you the problem 12 divided by 7, what's the divisor?
7.
What kind of units are we talking about?
7.
If I say 100 divided by 8, what's my divisor?
8.
What kind of units are we talking about? If I say 56 divided by 12, what's the divisor?
12.
What units?
12.
Whatever the divisor is, that's the kind of units. Because it says fifths here, we know that the divisor should be 5. Do we know what our whole is yet? No. Let's look at this. They do give us the mixed numbers, 1 and 2 fifths. Under mixed numbers, write 1 and 2 fifths. If we know that the mixed number is 1 and 2 fifths, what does that mean? We can fill in automatically. Kevin? Does that mean that our problem is 2 divided by 5? No, don't forget the whole number. If we know the mixed number, can we make the improper fraction? 1 is the same as 5 fifths, and then the 2 fifths. So how many fifths do we have altogether? 7 fifths. We can kind of work backwards to fill in the improper fractions. Does that make sense? Be careful. A lot of you made this mistake yesterday. You ignored the whole number and you said 2 divided by 5. That's not correct. It's really what divided by 5?
7.
And now we can fill in our division expression. Now we know the division expression 7 divided by 5. This is what we're going to be doing today. Taking what we know and filling in the other forms. Okay, now 7, if I split one cookie into fifths, how many fifths do I have? 5. But then how many cookies do I have?
7.
So how many fifths am I going to have? 35 fifths. Do you see how for unit form, that's how we can figure it out? What's 35 divided by 5?
7.
What kind of units do I have? So what's 35 fifths divided by 5?
7.
7 fifths. Oh, which lines up nicely with our 7 fifths, which is 1 and 2 fifths. Does that make sense? Okay, last but not least, we need to make sure we're still recording. Good. Okay, last but not least, we need to do standard algorithm. Who's living in the house?
7.
Okay, who's knocking on the door?
5.
If I have 7, Dad's going to divide 7 divided by 5 is?
1.
Mom's going to multiply. 1 times 5 is?
5.
Sister's going to subtract. What do I have left?
2.
If I have 2 left and I have to split it into 5 pieces, what fractional piece will everyone have?
2 fifths.
So 1 and 2 fifths.